So we'll hop right into it. So there was a number of new big model releases that came out, and the first one we'll talk about is the Gemini 3. So this here, a strange image to start out for Gemini 3, but my son, when we were down in South Carolina last week, he went and bought this charger down there. So he bought it for $1,500, got a really good deal, and it hasn't seen much rust and much salt down there. So he drove it back, and he has the engine ripped apart and stuff like that. But one of the really cool concepts of Gemini now is their image editing capability. And I'm going to highlight that a little bit here. So this here just took a sample little picture here, and we wanted to get on Facebook to talk about what color should we make this thing. So I went there and asked it, give me the car with a bright green paint job. So that's there, what it comes back with after just a couple minutes of thinking on it. So that if I posted it on Facebook 2 years ago, you'd be hard pressed not to know that that's not the real paint job of it, right? It even identified that there's an image on the hood, and we thought this was a vinyl image. It's actually someone hand painted that or did something. It's an actual paint job, not a vinyl wrap or anything like that. That we're gonna paint over because it's weird. But anyway,
I thought it looked like it was airbrushed on there.
Yeah, maybe airbrushed. So it has a Captain American shield on it, but it has like a dog face inside of it, and it's a firefighter. But the dog face only sees one eye. Anyway, we don't like it. We're gonna take it out. But we got that one. We want to do a black one. So there did but both those images, like from an image generation perspective, editing, if you look at the source image, like even the source image has artifacts in it, like rags still on it. We didn't do anything, but in the actual image, it takes off all the little artifacts. And actually, now that I see it, there is a little. Do you see that one right there? But not bad.
I did.
Of course, we had to do the orange one, but that one we felt was too close to the Bears. So
yeah, we can't be having that.
That can't be having that. But then a friend of ours wanted to see what like an army green would be. So this here looks like a spray canned army green with the black stripes. So then I have my buddy Dave Randell, who loves pink, and he wanted to see what it looked like for here. So I'm like, here's it in pink. And funny story, my son actually chose pink. So he has spray painted cans. He already purchased them, and either this weekend or next weekend, he's going with pink. So he's gonna make this Dodge Charger that he's getting this color. So I was like, all right, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. All right.
Well, he wanted a statement. He's like, pink makes a statement. I'm like, yes, it does.
I'll have to pull the list of all.
What
was that, Jeff?
Stripes?
I think he's going to do the stripes. So he'll probably do solid pink at first, but the stripes shouldn't be that hard to put on there. And I don't know if he'll go buy vinyl stripes or if he's going to do rattle can stripes on it. But anyway, so this is a fun use case, but I use it like for we got our buddy Aaron's birthday, right? I just put his picture and our logo. So yesterday, a big team post for Aaron's birthday. That's not exactly our team, but it works pretty good. And if you've been watching image generation for a number of years here, getting all these letters to work correctly is very impressive. They've solved text and images now. And these are two different models, ChatGPT and Gemini can do this. And then today we have our buddy Jonathan's birthday.
In all spots of the image, like it may have got one spot in the image right on text, but to have it be in every single location in the image, that's really a big difference.
Yep. So like if you're talking, all team members like to have celebrated things like how long when they're here or how many years they've been employed at your company, birthdays, special events like that. This here is a great way of, again, it takes me like 5 minutes to throw something like this together. It's very low effort. It takes less than that even, but it's low effort, but high value to my team members. That if their CEO is sending them off a custom little made image like this, it just makes them feel a little better, And they all know I used AI on it, but it's fun. So, but if you just look at the image generation of it, like here they have shirts that have our colors and the logos, and it adjusts the size, So a bigger guy like this, it's bigger. Where someone's smaller, it just it did a. I was really impressed with this. And this with the Gemini 3, this here's the best I've seen from image generation, and Google is really leading the pack on that. But also, if you're doing any custom SOPs, if you're doing company parties, if you're doing any event that you're doing that just needs a custom little image on it, this here's not a bad way of throwing that together. Something
Cool.
else I was working on when I was down in Thanksgiving is so this here is our one-eyed cat. Now my wife got this cat literally because it was disabled, and uh she loves it, so it is what it is. But then my daughter ended up loving it. So my daughter wanted a coloring book. So I told her to send me all kinds of images and I'll go and make a coloring book. So that's one of the things I'm working on throughout this year is or for Christmas is to get all these turned into coloring images and get it so that way make a coloring book, and we'll post that on the online for her. And then we have some of her friends she loves hippos, so we'll get stuff like that throw, but it's another use case for it. So those aren't really business use cases. I acknowledge that. It was just there were things I played with last week, and they worked really really well after I tested out Gemini a little bit. Any questions on that or anything you want me to take a look at before I move on?
I would just say, you say there's not a business case for it, but there's the marketing people in the world and all of that stuff. And certainly AI has become a tool where it makes their job a lot easier. I won't say replaces them, but the layman can create some pretty amazing quality
Yeah, and I think we
solutions.
should almost expect our marketing team, our business leaders, to be putting better presentations out to both their teams, better connection. Like really, from a cost perspective, it would have been pretty cost prohibitive to do something like this 2 years ago for everyone's birthday, right? I'm not go contact an artist, have them throw it together, look at reviews. That the team member just rather have a give have me send them $200, and they would have been much happier with that than this image. But now it almost should be an expectation that we as leaders are doing things like this for our team members, or if we're looking at, doing some type of marketing, go outside your business, take a picture, like especially if you're doing a remodel, take a picture of the business and go and talk about some ideas or throw the graphs on there. What does it actually look like? So I think, yeah, there definitely are use cases for that.
And the time, the time factor is just huge, right? You talk about, having to deal with an outside firm and all of these things, and all of that takes time, and time is money.
Hmm.
You can just whip it together in here and um, save it.
Yeah. And actually, you can, let's see if I could do this quick. Do I have to do a new chat for it? All right. I'm not going to do it here, but you can turn these here. I will. I'll. All right. So I have to re-upload all that stuff, but that won't take me long. Copy new. So what I'm going to do is turn Aaron's video here. Can you turn this into a video where everyone is cheering for Aaron? Happy birthday. And we'll come back to that because that'll take a little while to run. But and I've done a couple little videos on this and it works pretty well. So yeah, like I said, we'll come back. I just want to make sure. Yeah, it's going to take 1 to 2 minutes. So let's switch over to the one of the big things that I did last week. I wanted to show everyone. So this here is if anyone has played the game of Risk, uh, that this is basically what this is, but it's very very different. So in a matter of about 2 days, I wanted to create if you ever played Jackbox where it shows up on a TV, you scan a code, everyone plays on their phone while they see the results on the TV. I wanted to create a couple games that would do this. And I was down south and I was like, all right, let's go ahead and try this. So I did this. So uh, no one scan this because you'll actually be able to control the game and it'll ruin my demo. But here I'm using my cell phone. I'm logging in now. You see down here that I joined the game. I'm configuring it right now. So if you go ahead and I'll show you my phone here in a second. So here on the game, I'm adding AI in. I'm choosing the players. I'm yeah, doing all the things on the game. I can go ahead and copy the link and text it to friends. If I want to have 6 friends play Risk with me, I can. And we call it global conquest, so we're not violating anyone's copyrights or anything like that. But it's definitely risk inspired. So now I'm going to click on mine. It's called AI mode. So I go click, and then we're ready to go. Now, right now, there is a bug that if I go with pure AI, it doesn't know that it's supposed to start, so I have to refresh it. But now, this is literally playing a game. And if anyone went to this, in fact, I'll copy this out there for you guys. Put this in the Teams chat. So if you click that, you'll actually be able to see this game play. And you'll be able to watch it on yours. And if you were one of the players here, we could sit there and play against each other. This is just using from an AI, having the AI do it. But the AI, so in this instance, it's not using a large language model. The AI wrote an AI to play other AIs. So it's a script-based AI that is running all this stuff here. So, and we have a TV mode that we can throw in. So this gives a little better, you can see a little more the battle, what's going on. You see who's attacking who. So, and this was made in about 2 days where it worked on, it's called Socket.io, but built the network connections back and forth, made it so I could join, made it so it handles all this. There's a map editor that's how I made the map as well. It made a map editor that will then join the connections, what territories touch each other, go from there.
What is the AI that you're using to
So I
play?
use Opus 4.5 in Cursor. But the AI that's playing the game isn't a large language model. It is a script running in the browser front end.
Oh, wow. So that's what's making all of the
Decisions. Yep.
Wow. Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that was the use case I was trying to get it to work with is to can the AI, rather than using tokens and language, can it build the scripting language? And then I sit here and watch this. So now one of the really cool things are, so if anyone clicked on that link, you can click on this AI debug, and I'll show this here. Well, this used to show you what the AI was actually thinking. So this is just on my dev server, and I've done a lot of other projects on this, so maybe I've broken that aspect of it since last weekend.
I think they're still playing. You gotta wait till the first full round goes through.
All right,
yeah.
that might be true.
So so if I understand right, when you said it shows you what the AI is thinking, that's not really the AI, that's just the script that's making decisions based on whatever else
Yep.
is going on in
So
the
what
game.
it calculates here is how so a strategic focus doesn't need to be super aggressive. All right, so here, yeah, it went through the cycle now. So here you got, so like we go look at Pink, for example. Pink is now going for Asia. It has South America right now. It's earning 5 guys per turn. It's calculated that it needs to invest 23 troops, and its ROI score is 609, so it's decided that. It sees Sentinel Alpha as its #1 rival, and that they're at a dangerous level. So if we go look at Sentinel Alpha, and that's because of its army count. So it has almost I'd say about 33% more of an army, which is why it's at a dangerous, but it'll crank it up to either normal, dangerous, or like oppressive or something like that. And then each of these, its focus from aggressive, how much risk do they have to take, or expansion focus changes based off the factors of everywhere else in the game. So everyone else sees Chrome Crusher as the dangerous one because its income is 60% higher than what its current one is. And then you see the logic on, so if this one's focus is to take Africa, here's its path for taking Africa. So what I would do is I would sit here and play this, let the AIs play each other, and then I'd see it's doing things like it was keeping even troop numbers everywhere. I'm like, no, no, no. You need to have troops protecting your border or attacking your goal. And then it'd go and create an army of one giant one that would go take one. I'm like, no, put 50% over what you want to take. And if you have extra troops, divide them up to your second, third, fourth priority. Which is why over here we start to see it's planning on 3 or 4 different ones. We also added so our version of Risk that we built over the last 20 years, we have a number of custom cards in it that we just call them global risk cards, which is why this is called Global Conquest. And the global risk cards are used to go ahead and you can tell someone, we call it the shushy card, which Chrome Crusher has right now. That means that they can't declare any attacks and they can't can't you play any cards. So they have to just sit there for a while. So now teal is for the most part can't do anything other than place troops. Then that'll allow green, but the AI knows what the cards are and actually adds those into its plan as it's creating its AI plan. But the real big highlight of this is that the AI did all the software development for it, all the server configuration for it, as well as the AI wrote the AI that analyzes and makes choices based off the game board that's out there. And from a business use case perspective, this can be used for scheduling. So that way you can have an AI that goes and just keeps adjusting and looks at the schedule, looks at a number of very conflicting goals, and can actually solve those goals as long as you can look at the use case. And you could build AI that just does the schedule practice and runs through that. And I mean, there's a million business use cases for stuff like this. And if it can do something as complicated as a game, and I played a game with this with my brother-in-law last week, and the AI almost won. So I mean, and I've played this Risk for a number of years, so it was pretty impressive.
That's awesome.
So while it is just a game, the concepts of what, and I was just trying to see how far could I push AI, and it did quite well. In fact, Aaron's been going around to a number of clients and just giving me challenges for, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? And I go and build like he gave me some giant one yesterday. I think it was after an hour, I had you a working demo that exceeded what you were looking at doing. So
yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, the amount of time it would take to do any of this. I mean, to get to a working model like this from a developer standpoint, you know, even a year ago.
this would have been a year.
Yeah, that
I
would
did it
take
in 2
a
days.
couple years.
Yeah, no, especially with the AI added in there. So like if you haven't done development before, building a script or AI that works like this it's very difficult. I mean, it's to get it to work this effectively. It's pretty, and actually, if anyone wants, you can go to just this and create your own game and give it a shot this weekend if you wanted. It should be up unless I'm working on it. I do plan on playing it a little further. There's a couple of, I want to add more cards into it. I want to work on the mobile. So unfortunately, if I restart the server, you know what, I'll make it so that one of the first things I'll do is I'll make it so that way if I restart the server, it keeps the previous game state. So, but anyway.
So is there any, did you tell it when you had AI write the script that controls the logic? Do you know if it's like doing any randomness? Like, you know, there's a 50% chance that you attack, or did you like tell it how to factor in the randomness of their behaviors, or?
So its randomness is based off how it sees. I mean, there's enough variable factors inside it that it feels random, but also, so this here, like its risk level, right? like normally you wouldn't go attack if you had an army of 5, you wouldn't try attacking an army of 7, right? But if you are way behind and you need to attack what I would, and when we play Risk, it's called the big guy. But if you're going to attack the big guy, you go take higher risk because you know that unless you just get lucky, you're going to lose.
So
So
does it always play the best odds, or is there ever anything that you put into it that says, like, even though this isn't your best move, maybe try something just for the hell of it, or any kind of randomness, or
yeah, but well, depending upon where that's what I mean your risk level is, right? So like when you're talking about just do something just because you have to do something, that's where like some of these are at. So like green here is at a 50% risk, which seems to be the highest right now. Whereas Chrome Crusher here is sitting at 25%. So they will take bigger risks than others. And so here you're seeing Chrome Crusher is dominant. So he's going to take a lot of heavy risks against Chrome Crusher. Whereas according to Black Hole Bob, and these are all randomized names that are coming out of the script. So just it has a name mesher that it creates, but it just sees Chrome Crusher as dangerous. So it's not going to take as big a risk against Chrome Crusher, but Atlas is going to take some pretty large risk against him because if he doesn't hurt his turn income, he's just going to end up losing.
so
Does
I
that make
guess,
sense?
yeah. But what I'm wondering is if you know how the script is coded, like based on all the risk levels or whatever, can you then know exactly what each player is going to do?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know what the script. I've never seen the script. I I didn't edit. All I do is I look at how it plays, and then I tell it what I don't want. Like here, you see pink, for example, which again is shushied, so it can't attack, and it has one turn left on its shushiness. Um, so it's just putting troops on its border, which is what you'd want, right? But as soon as it gets off, oh, someone else. Yeah, so it looks like Chrome Crusher just been perpetually shushied because everyone sees him as the big guy right now. So he just keeps putting guys on the border. No one is going to go and try randomly attacking him as a result of that because there's just zero chance. The risk level isn't high enough. You have to have a risk level of 100%. But like so Tia or Pink up here, they should be taking North America if I go and look at this. Yeah, they're going for North America. And they almost got it. So like when you look at it, like what are some of the if you look at just like randomness, what randomness would you want a player to take here?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's like, if the odds say that I have a 60% chance that I should do this, but I just, for the hell of it, I make some decision not based on, what the rules say for how to behave. I was just kind of wondering so I guess what I was getting at is if you know exactly how that script works, then you know exactly how every single player is going to play, unless there's some sort of randomness like baked into it where they might not make
Yeah,
the most strategic move or whatever.
you would have to do a lot of calculation because even here, right, it makes sense that Teal here is going to fortify North or Europe as their territory. So I would expect that they're going to go fortify there. Like if Teal went and just randomly put all his troops here and started attacking into Asia, I'd be like, that's not cool, right? Yeah, see there now they're shushing him because he's the big guy. He's earning 9 guys per turn. And they're starting to go ahead and yeah, he should be actually putting more troops on his border there, but this here is a big concern of his. So there is the amount of so maybe not exactly randomness, but there are so many variables in the AI's decision that it would get hard to calculate perfectly what the AI is going to do. Which is why I had to create this just to even get a rough idea of why is it doing what it's doing.
Huh. That's interesting.
Because like in this scenario here, you have 6 players playing, and there's 55 territories and 6 continents. So it's not just calculating which one does it think it should take. It's also calculating what it thinks the other people are doing, how it thinks it ranks versus everyone else, what cards they each of them have, what chances they have of fighting those, and then it takes that based off its risk. Yeah, it's how aggressive, risk, and expansion each of those 6 players are, determine how each of the 6 players are playing. So it's a lot of calculation that even if you know that's how it works, it's going to be a lot.
So how does it come up with the aggressive rating? Like, that's
I
based
have no
off of
idea. I would just watch it play, and then when I'd see it doing what I consider dumb stuff, I would tell the AI, "Hey, it's doing this. We need to add some stuff into the logic so that way we temper that a little bit." Then I'd go and
Oh,
watch an AI play again, and then it'll do it. Like here, these two keep building up each other's border, which is correct. You would probably want at least something along these borders, right? You guys see my mouse on the screen, don't you?
yeah, yep.
Yeah. So like that's one of the things I want to work on this weekend is that this is right, but this should probably be down to maybe 15 and then put everyone else around. So there he played a pop boom, which is one of the special cards. So now he's a lot beefier, but and like even North America here, I understand why, but really he should be moving some stuff down here. So, and I can tell you the reason they're doing that is because the AI right now, they see each other as their threats. So they're trying to make sure that they can go ahead and attack the income of those people, but it's causing their own detriment. So right now, Tia or Pink is about to take 2 continents, is fighting. Anyway, we could talk all day on the logic of this, but
That's crazy.
yeah, it's a from a use case, just something that AI could do, where an AI now has the ability that AI can build AI for you, that runs without using tokens, is a pretty cool thing. And if you can, even without having to tell it what the exact math is, you just tell it what you didn't like it did, and with enough iterations, you'll get a AI that's doing pretty decent.
Wow.
But for your students at the TC there, this might be a fun exercise for them, for each of them to, because you could build a competition where you use a game board like this, and each of them create their own AI model that their player is going to play with their AI metrics.
Yeah, had trained their own AI to write the script to play the way they think it
Yep.
should play. Wow, that's crazy.
Because then you could go ahead and make it so you load in the custom logic or basically your weights and balances for each of the players, and then you let the game play, and then you just watching how it does it, and who wins gets bonus points or something like that. It's a that I think would connect the students and yeah, connect the students in with it a little better or a little bit. So, any questions on this or and I'm going and allowing some mics for some people as well. All right. Well, yeah, as far as I mean, for the last month or so, we've been doing a lot of not game building, but basically taking concepts like this and building dashboards, applications, and tools, things I can't necessarily show, but um, just things like this that help businesses, connect in with their clients or data or building systems that just bring everything into a singular system and then has low cost AI that run on the background, or in this case, AI that are free to run, and just really redefining how we see software because AI now can just almost do everything for you. Like if you're in any company that's looking at buying software, I would highly recommend not doing it, honestly, whether it's software as a service or just looking at your expenses that you're doing from a software and really evaluating, is it more cost effective to do a full custom software build versus using purchased software? Because in the last 6 months, I think we've seen a huge shift from, I think it's more cost effective to custom build now than I do to think it is to buy off the shelf. And I have yet to be proven wrong on it when we actually do the assessment stuff. So
Yeah, I
And
would say
Aaron, I
though,
don't know
I
if you
would,
have anything you want to
yeah,
comment on that, but
from my perspective, like I 100% agree with what Rod's saying. And I think if anything, the barrier at this point is your prompt engineering skills. Like as you're trying to tell AI what you want it to do, you're going to see people focusing more on their prompt engineering and how to properly communicate with the AI on what they're wanting to see on the screen. Like that's really I think really the next big shift is like people have been just talking to how they normally talk about. I think a little more critical thinking into how you prompt what you want to see is really the next big shift. And once AI can get even more grasp of that, I think it's really going to be incredible. What I can't wait to see what happens in the next 3 months.
yeah, like the game you're watching here is the definition of AI slop. Like if you hear AI slop used anywhere, this is what you can do with AI slop. And this here is miles away from the broken junk code people were talking about a year ago. So
Yeah. I don't know. It's yeah, it's amazing what you can do. The danger in vibe coding is that there could be cases where it may not behave the way it should, and there could have monumental consequences of it. I think that's the whole thing that I'm trying to wrestle with too, is like how much do I trust the AI? Obviously, it's getting better and better all the time, but I think the big fear is like if you have to write some program that has to scale super big and has to have super secure, features built into it, and um, there could be consequences if you don't know exactly how it's working, and I think it's hard to test. It's hard to test this stuff too, so that you do know that it's working properly. So
yeah, how we do it is we get something usable, and then we have a number of different AI models do security assessment reviews of the code itself to and models that have no context of the software as a whole, as well as models that do have context of the source code. So that way we can go ahead and have it review that, and then we send it to our 20-year software developer. Like I have a tool right now that we're working on that will do full deployment of software, jointed domains, fixed printers, but we lock it down to our internal use right now. And then that's going to get, once that's all done, it's going to move up to our, Tim is his name. He's my brother. He's just located 10 feet above me right now. Uh, but um, so he'll go and review it to make sure that we have all the proper security procedures in place. But I think you also gain the ability that you can add security procedures into it that some software don't even have. Like if you want to do IP block or IP filtering, MAC filtering, a lot of your software right now don't even offer that capability. Whereas this is an opportunity that you can gain that capability or add in there what's called SSO, so that way you can have a single Microsoft login is logging into those, as well as extra layers of security. So I think there's a use case that you can make software more secure because you have the ability to tailor it to your own internal use cases of what security stacks, what authentication and things that you're using, as well as other data that other software just would never have access to.
yeah, I agree. I mean, and that's a big thing now too, is people are using AI to check the work of other AI, and that's really powerful. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just kind of, these are the concerns that I see in my feed when the other thing that I think a lot of programmers are worried about is that it does it does really write a lot of sloppy code. I've seen that a lot in the vibe coding that I've done. And then it may work, but then it may become difficult to maintain if it's not clean and well organized. And so you could run into problems there if your client wants you to make lots of changes. It can but I agree. This is the future. It's I mean, what you can do with it with vibe coding is just so much more powerful than what you can do by yourself. So and faster, better, quicker in so many ways. So
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
and I
you're
was trying to find an example within my cursor what I did, but what I'll do is I'll get it working, and then I actually have it do a refactor plan to go look for duplicated code, unstructured code, and then it'll create a refactor plan and then go and refactor and reduce the code down. So it'll find like multiple functions that it wrote. It'll doesn't meet our coding standards. So you just you can take it you get it till it's working, and then you go refactor it, make sure it's working again, and I'll run it through a refactor 3 or 4 times to get it down to as simple as possible, or it'll end up writing like a 5,000 line file, and I'm like, no, this thing needs to get broken out, break it out, create a breakout plan, refactor plan, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. This is where everything's going to. But those are just the concerns that I'm seeing now. But yeah, you can't deny how much better this is than what we could do before. So it's just crazy.
I
Yep.
think
Hey, no, I just had a thought about what you're saying about the code having issues. I mean, that could be part of the prompt too, like Rodney was alluding to, is that there's a check phase and then that becomes part of the prompt for clean code. Once it's working is a clean code evaluation filter that says, here's some parameters I want you to look for to clean it up. So that could be part of the educational process too of
Mm.
it's working. Now let's make it work for release for the client.
Yep. And so Aaron and Tim have been working on this more than I have, but we have a client where we built a full MRP system. What do you call it, Aaron? MRP system or ERP system or?
It's along those lines, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically their main line of business software that handles all the accounting, everything. But it was written without a coder ever looking at the code. And what it does is, we've taken Cursor, and Tim's been working on this for the last 3 months or so. But it's basically a number of agentic systems that you have your security bot, your structure bot, and Tim could go a lot more into it sometime. All these different functions that he has, but we have a chat bot that you pop up there. You just type into. Actually, let me see if I can find an example I could show.
Yeah, well, Rod's bringing it up, but basically, yeah, you have this feedback chat bot in the corner of your screen, like you go to a website and it asks you if you need help. Instead of it just being conversation, you're actually telling what you don't like about something on the screen, and it's creating tickets, and then it's creating the task load for the AI bots to go through and make the changes for you
Hmm.
as you're looking at it. And it's incredible what it's doing.
Yeah, that's interesting. Have you been playing with the MCP servers at all? I stumbled into one that allows you to run code it'll launch it in a Chrome browser, and you can have the AI like start using your web pages and evaluating it, and it's the Chrome DevTools MCP server, and so that's potentially a way to test to make sure that your user interface is working properly, and it's just
Yep, yeah, I can't find one that I can share publicly, but we have like 10 of them, but they're all specific for clients. Uh, But yeah, it does that where it goes and creates the project plan. It spawns off sub agents for each of the different projects that it's doing. It runs it, does a code review, and then it goes and does a test of it to where it actually logs into the system and uses the function that I was talking about, takes screenshots of it, and then puts all the screenshots as proof validation in a folder that it did the software development properly, and then writes a user document for how the user should use it, and then gives that back to Aaron that he goes to the client with, and here's a use case test of it. One of the biggest test cases we had of it was, and I don't think I've shared that with this group because we've done it since then, is we had a client of ours that we worked with like 10 years ago, and they had an old MRP system from the late or early 90s, I think it was, and it has all their company history. They can't go away from it, but the company's gone out of business. So like they're literally just, hey, they have their fingers crossed hoping it never dies, because if it ever does, they lose all their data, right? But they can't migrate anywhere because the data was in 2,600 tables, not yeah, 2,600 different tables that were all minified, and that the names do not connect to each other, no joining, no nothing. That's what they have. The software works, but it's all compiled software that we can't see how it connects. We sent it through our system. It ran for 2 weeks, but it correctly mapped all the data inside that database and then built a UI. And I just sent him a message of it today that we have a working web system of a 1990 system, MRP system, that came from a 2600. So to put it in perspective, that's basically 2600 spreadsheets that all interlink to each other, but you have no connection to what they interlinked, and they did not name the tables what because they knew what they were. They didn't care about it then, right? And and even the columns in the table are not named. So we literally failed at it 10 years ago. I'm a pretty confident individual, right? I'm like, well, yeah, we can do this. We hopped in there, and after spending 2 years of it, we didn't charge them anything. We're like, look, we can't do this. So because the data it was unmappable, or I'd have to charge them like $1 million to do so, which is well outside their budget. But it successfully did it in 2 weeks, and after 1 month of running through this AI bot that we have, it's correctly mapped them. We have like they can actually use it with their old data. So it's live migrating their old data from a 1990 undocumented system, but where it all just, I mean, it literally sounds like magic, but it just works, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I guess it's like for programmers, it's like how much of the code do you need to understand and know, but I'm thinking about how like they say that the algorithms that drive like the Google search engines, there's no single person that understands how those work either.
Yep.
So
So I think, we've seen a lot of different IDEs over history come around, and they make things easier and more attainable for the layman that doesn't really know how to code, to build things. But it doesn't change the fact that there's the care and feeding piece on the back end, and that's the same with this. Care and feeding maybe gets a little bit easier because you have AI to help you with it. But at the end of the day, when you have an enterprise application, um, you know, who are you going to call when it breaks? Or do you have an internal team that works on that? And can you have AI help with that? Sure, but um, somebody has to know how it works, I guess and that's just building on that same point.
There still has to be a conductor.
Yeah. Yeah, for us, that's the who is the AI in essence. Now, I have a Hail Mary that I can go give it to Tim, and he can go and dive into it, and so I have a little bit of a ace up my sleeve, I guess. But um, because a lot of the things I build, I mean, we are a security company. I wouldn't feel comfortable rolling them out to our customers in non-sandbox environment without them going through someone like Tim. And I don't care how much AI tells me it's pinky promise that it's all perfect code, right? If it hasn't actually gone through a human security reviewer, I wouldn't trust it myself, right? So yeah, I can definitely agree with that point that we want to have a human in the middle on it. But I think the human in the middle needs to know less and less about what works, and just needs to know how to find what isn't working when it isn't working.
they
So
need
that
to
way
know
you can
how.
go ahead and transition that more to, like, if you take even a train conductor. A train conductor doesn't know every piece of cargo in that train, but they do know how to get into each of the cars or go fix if there's something that needs their attention. They know how to find what's inside or how to fix something even if they don't know on the front side what it is. I don't know if that analogy perfectly lands, but it's close. We're gonna go with it.
It's like they
So,
need to know more about AI than they do about the actual coding aspects.
yep.
Uh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
and
like this here, this is a 20,000 line program, the game we're watching play. So just to read it would take you longer than it took to write. And that's
Another
not understand it, read it.
yeah.
another use case that I came up with this last week is I had a fellow professional in the area up here that I interact with, and they have a software platform that anytime they go to want any edits to it, it's just 3 to 4 weeks for a response from the developers.
Hmm.
And I'm sure there's people on this call who have had similar experiences on just response times or even just to get an estimate on something in a software. Well, I was talking to him and I'm like, literally in the time it takes to get your response, we could have a man in the middle operation that you can basically export to your current system. We could feed it, debunk it, and put it back. And then we can even build out all the parts of your current system, probably in the time it would take you to have a couple interactions with your current developer. and and it just kind of was a mind-blowing concept to them. Like, it took more for me to explain how we could go about doing that in a shorter time frame than just the basic interactions of the human components of working with a developer or a project manager at a developing firm. And
working with developers is not always easy either. They can be difficult to work with. Well,
even when they're your brother.
Yeah, there's one of the advisory members on our advisory board works for a marketing firm, and he told me that what they're doing now is they're teaching some of their clients how to vibe code. And that way that's saving a ton of time because they can come up with the prototype. They don't have to have a lot of back and forth, and have a developer build a prototype for something. So, the clients, they just teach them how to vibe code, and they say, just, build something, and that'll, you'll have to answer a lot of the questions that we would otherwise run into, during our back and forth. And so he's saying that that's saving a lot of time in the prototyping phase. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think at least for the next year, the graphical design aspect, the AI doesn't do beautiful. Like this here, what you're seeing is a pretty boilerplate game. But if I want to do anything really custom, it just you bang your head against it. So I think web design company, as far as making a page and stuff like that, AI does that really, really quickly. But if they want it to look really unique, they're going to have an edge in that for I would say at least another year or two. And then, but as far as getting your text and your templates and stuff like that all together, yeah, building vibe coding capabilities, and that's what our little chatbot does is that you can take it to a website, a web application, and it blurs the line between that. But yeah, it'll do all that.
And having enterprise application support, or a finger to point, somebody to point a finger at or whatever, they're going to be using this too. There's going to be
Oh yeah.
vibe coding on their side too. So at the end of the day, whether you're doing it in-house or they're doing it for you, a lot of corporate environment, you want to be able to point the finger at somebody and say they're fixing it, but they're fixing it the same way.
Yep.
Rod?
And even from an IT support perspective, like one of my goals is by either end of next quarter or the beginning of end of the Q2 is I want to have all my clients be able to actually fix simple things on their computer with an AI agent. Because like you have simple things like my shared drive isn't connected or printer isn't working, and these are all things that our tier one just follow a script on, right? Now, they sometimes need elevated permissions and stuff like that. I wouldn't give the AI those, but there's a lot of things you can do with just a user permission that the user could do in a safe, pre-scripted perspective. But just giving them a tool on their computer that they can go click and these are sample things that this particular user has been approved to fix on their own if they wanted to. And that just it really ends up being win-wins for everyone because the clients are happier because they can get it faster. And while our team is super friendly, that no one really likes having to call us, but they like that they can if they want to. But I think clients will like it is I guess boiling it down. But
Rodney, do you guys do any automated unit testing of your projects?
yeah, those automated unit testings are we use AI for it, but that's the when it gets to the end of the project, it will actually go through and not just unit test, but take screenshots of the successful unit test at the end of it, so that way we can create the unit test for the specific use case that we're doing, and the AI can actually write so like in the project plan when it's creating here's what we need to happen, it writes what the end solution will be and then creates a unit test for that as a part of it and with screenshot validation.
And so like every time you make an update, you rerun the unit tests before you deploy to your live servers? Is
Yep.
that okay?
And like from an architecture perspective, one of the things Tim's working on right now is making it so that way clients can live vibe their custom solutions and see how it would work, but it's all in a dev environment. And then we'll go through when they're getting ready, like, hey, this is working how I like it. Well, then we'll go and do a final validation and then push it to their production. But that way, they will get the ability to either with sample data or live data based off what we've talked with them about and a number of other factors on that. But give certain users the ability that they can live edit their industrial applications and then see those updates live as the system's updating them.
Hmm.
And then, but of course, not touching the production. So if you have 200 employees, right, that'd be in a dev environment that a couple people are testing it, or just even just building a quick report. And reporting and KPIs are probably where most managers would use that because they want to see a unique KPI that doesn't need to get pushed live, and they may love it and want it to go live, or they may just choose to just use it for a one-time use case. So, but maybe rapid prototyping, that's a way of looking at it too.
Hmm.
With production data, but just to bring it back, like this game here is just one example of what you can do with that, right? It's a very advanced example. You just have to find what are the examples inside each of our organizations that we will be able to use something like this. And looking at this game here, it looks like Pink might end up winning it, huh?
Looks like they're on the way.
Any
Yeah,
other questions or topics we want to tackle?
That's one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time. That's really awesome.
Well, if you want the source code, just let me know.
Yeah.
Monopoly might have to be next there, Rodney, or a version of, Groupopoly or something.
Groupopoly? Aopoly?
Rodney, I could see you doing simulations for business simulations on different variables. Have a slider for the business to say, if I adjust these variables, what would be a projected role play outcome?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a new model that came out. It's not out yet, but it was a hidden model. I wish I had the benchmark. I just watched a video on that this morning. I just didn't have time to prep it with me. But basically, it's an AI bot that all the leading AI bots, they put it through this challenge on trying to buy and sell stocks based off the same information. And this one had a 12% return in 2 weeks when all other models didn't. And they did a number of tests, and consistently, on average, it was a 12% return with this new model based off the real stock market that's out there right now and the data that it can find. And so you talk about making complex decisions on a lot of information. That is a prime example of doing so. And I think we're going to see AI models gain a lot of capability. And so I'm working on my 2026 book, and it's just going to be on AI workflows. But I think there's really four main areas that businesses are going to transition over to, and or steps for the most part. Like right now, we're at step one where humans find data, put it into an AI, and then we get a response out of it and work with it. And it's normally a very manual process that our AI is limited to. We want an SOP. We want to go ahead and a policy and procedure. We want a quote. We want a piece of software where we're manually putting the data in, and then we manually take and move the data out. A phase two will be where we have our systems where the AI or where all our data is automatically being fed into an AI, and then the AI then tells us what we should do with that data based off and there's a lot of QA associated to that. And a phase three will be where we tell with the data where the AI or data is auto put into AI, and then the AI automatically interacts with it. So this game here is an example of that where it's a full closed system where all the data of the game is inside the system. The system sends it to an AI. Then the AI tells the AI itself where to interact. And we've had games like that, but from a business perspective, a lot of our data is segmented. And then the fourth area will be in humanoid robots come out more, where the AI are telling the humanoid robots what to go and do. And right now, businesses are transitioning from really a phase 0 up through a 1 through 3, and we have about a 1 to 2 year period, I feel, to really get to most businesses up to like a tier 3, where the AI is able to help their team members and help them know what to actually do. So that way, when humanoid robots come in, they can take advantage of those humanoid robots and from a competitive perspective, and have because a humanoid robot isn't useful or isn't as useful from an economic perspective if you don't have digital systems that are telling it what to do. So that's my prediction, and I'm working through that as I write the book here. But those different those 4 different steps that all the businesses need to start working towards is that first off, we need to get all of our system, all of our data in a digital format, so that way all our decisions are made off data, and then move that data so it's securely being put into an AI, so it can whether it's pre-made systems like this or whether it's actually having LLMs go and process that information to give us information back, and then get it so that way and work our way up that supply chain.
Little side conversation here. We've decided it should be like Coolopoly with your face on it there, Rod, in the middle as the this is the main game player there, and then we'll have the Cooley Tech team as the little figurines.
You know what I'll do? I'll make the AI. There'll be a Cooley Tech on each one, and it'll just have like a 20% bonus. So the AI, the Cooley Tech AI, always working, will help Cooley Tech take over the world.
Oh man.
And we'll have all the other IT companies, and they'll be discounted, and they just penalized. Sorry, that evil little Rodney came out there. We'll go back to professional Rodney.
All right. I don't think we have any other comments or anything. Okay. Sean just commented, simulations need to be run before robots and economical for companies to use. So,
Hey, Rod, I have a question about AI. Earlier, Aaron was talking about how prompts are really important when it comes to AI and helping. Is there any resources that you can recommend for great prompts that can be used in ChatGPT and other AI softwares?
What I would honestly do is just tell the AI what you're trying to find and ask it to give you a prompt. It sounds really silly, but it works really well. I use it all the time. Aaron, you use it too, don't you? Yeah. So you just ask the AI, here's kind of the data. And even when I'm doing like the software development, sometimes I'll tell it, I don't know how to word this correctly, but here's kind of what I'm looking for. Does this make sense? And the AI will say yes, or it'll ask me follow-up questions. And then I'm like, well, this. And then it's like, yep, here's what I'm thinking about doing. I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay.
yeah, I oftentimes at this point in my life and with the resources AI has provided, anytime I'm brainstorming, I like to go for me, it's between Gemini and ChatGPT, and I post the same thing in both of them. And then once I get to whatever one I feel like is closer to what I'm looking for is where I drill down further from there. And I can't even explain how much more effective I have been in the things that I do because of those resources. And yeah, it's amazing what you're able to accomplish right now. You can literally learn anything you want to learn at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the hardest part right now is getting the data to the AIs. And that's where the most time-consuming part is. And the faster we can fix that type of stuff, the faster we're going to be able to better leverage AI. So like at Cooley Tech, we're trying to find all the data we can and what can we safely move to AI. Like we're not putting our passwords and stuff like that into AI. That's gonna be a long time before that would ever happen. But just look at what can we do with AI and what can we do securely and safely that would help us automate and bring better services to our clients as a whole as a result of it. And for us, better services normally mean faster issue resolution and faster delivery of whatever we're talking about. And as long as we're secure, clients don't really care what we're doing on the backside as long as it gets fixed fast. There we go. I like it. Gets fixed fast, Aaron. Let's find a way of working that in. That's the new company motto. Any other questions anyone has, or?
No, I mean, I was just going to mention with the agentic AIs, trusting them to do the tasks that you kind of define, that's going to be a big trust issue with people not knowing exactly what method they take to accomplish a task.
Yep, that's true. I always relate it to like anytime I tell a team member to do something, I'm not positive it's going to get done correctly anyway. So if which I'm not saying that's great, I'm just saying that's truthful, right? I mean, that's just it is what it is.
It's not the way
So
that you would do it, but it might be a way that it would get done as long as it meets the objective. Is that what you're saying?
You can trust AI more than you can trust people.
in certain things, yes, and certain things, no, right? Like I wouldn't give AI the ability to choose all my employees' salary and bills pays and things like that, right? There's things that I definitely want to have a human in the middle on and a human interaction on. But there are
Right.
things where if we're talking drafting a sample email to a angry client, AI normally does it better than my text. I'll just be honest on that. If you're talking about because our techs are really good at fixing the issue, they're not always great at knowing how do you talk to a human in a way that empathizes and stuff, and AI does that better. So I think there's use cases where the AI does it better, and where other use cases where humans do it better, and that's defining those two areas are what is difficult sometimes. And we see examples of companies that have gone like, "Hey, I'm getting rid of all my customer service and going all AI." Those are bad choices. That is dumb. You shouldn't do that, right? That is someone that didn't understand how AI works, saw one example where it worked well, and like, well, this must work good everywhere. It doesn't. But inversely, you can go, well, I'm never using AI because it's wrong sometimes. Like, well, that's not really a good use case either. So you got to find where's your happy medium, more or less. So yeah, it's always evaluating what is the proper use case of AI and how can I use it effectively. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let me just talk through this in my head, and I'm just kind of spewing this out and help me make sense of it. But any time that you ask for the AI to do something, it's going to do something, whether you're asking for the AI to do it or a team member to do it. They're not going to do it exactly to your specifications because they're not inside your head. But the
That's true.
thing with AI is that you could probably train the AI to look at how you look at things a little bit more closer to your viewpoint so that when you ask it to do an automated task, it's coming closer to what you predict that you would do it if you were to do the task on your own. So the closer you can train the AI to understanding your parameter settings, the better kind of response that you're going to get.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think
Okay.
AI, there's times where it actually does a better job than what I would do. So, so
Hey
I think
Rod, Sheila did have a question when you for you here. She goes, "What do you think the role is of project management going down the road?"
So I think project managers are going to be one of the most critical jobs in the future because really a project manager, from my understanding of the role, is to make sure a project happens correctly. And what you'll see is a lot of automation of the things the project manager. So like rather than if you're talking software project management, right? Rather than sending all these tasks to a software dev team doing the sprint, well, you're going to send these off to AI agents that get them all done. But the project manager is going to make sure what the client's vision was, or your internal customer, however terms you put that, actually delivers on what needs to happen. So I think the project manager can use it both for management organization tools to help them make sure the project is going effectively, but but yeah, project managers, I think, are going to be one of the more important roles of this, but they're going to become more the doers of it, not in that they're actually coding it or not their construction or whatever project management we're talking about. The entire scope of the project. This will now include riding shotgun. Yep. Yeah, because like if I'm project manager, like Aaron does a take some of our software project. Aaron in these cases are the project manager of these. Would you agree, Aaron? Yeah. So what he does, he meets with the clients, he creates all the tickets. Now we've created systems that create the tickets for him. Then he goes and if before a meeting, we'll go and review it, make sure, then starts work on getting reports so we can make sure that the stuff got back. But the project manager is going to become the person that is making sure all the glue of these AI systems are actually working together and creating the KPI, or at least understanding what KPIs do they need to know about, so that way they can make sure the AI did a proper job. Just like with humans, they have KPIs that if so and so says something was done, every project manager had a case where it wasn't really done, right? So they got to go ahead and find out what do they need to see that proves it was actually done. So I think that, in my opinion, that's what the role of project managers. But I think project managers, are, especially over the next 2 to 5 years, are going to be one of the most important roles for companies to have as they move forward with the AI workflow. And the project managers are going to be the ones that will, I think, torpedo a company if they are huge blocks against using AI, and that because they will stop it from working, and the competitors, the competition, will just shoot right past them and they'll go out of business.
I think there's
My
a
two
lot of
cents.
truth. I think there's a lot of truth to that. I do believe with the advancements of we're seeing and the rate we're seeing it, I think in our area, 3 to 5 years is a pretty good estimation, I would say, based off of the adaptation of how our area seems to handle things. But I do see even project management, like I think there's going to be a position above project management. I don't know what that's going to look like and how that's going to look like, but the man in the middle is the project manager right now with the AI. But I think there's going to be a phase where that even gets adapted, and there's going to be something more beyond that.
Yeah,
But
I think I can agree with what you're saying, Aaron, because what you're seeing is like the stuff that you're doing right now. You could see how an AI could do it, and I think
yeah,
that is going to happen. But I think what you'll have is that there'll be just a transition of what a project manager is then, because you still need someone who, is this the project the company even wants, right? The AI can correctly create a great project plan, but is that really what you're looking at trying to have done? So there's going to be someone there that's going to be determining that, yeah, this is what we want to work on.
I think your visionaries, your conceptual thinkers, people can put themselves in other people's shoes. Those kind of characteristics and people with those skill sets are going to really blossom in this era if they're really willing to adapt and utilize AI. And I think it's going to be in some interesting times and exciting times in the very near future here.
So, like in terms of agile and Scrum, I feel like that's not as useful anymore. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so this is only my opinion, right?
Yeah,
I
I know.
think Agile and Scrum will be completely gone, because Agile and Scrum allows teams of people in our old structure of working to accomplish things for the next, I'd say, two. I guess there's multiple ways of looking at this. 'Cause like in large enterprises, they're not as quickly adapting AI,
Yeah.
right? So in the next 2 to 5 years, you're going to have like the Quick Trips and the giant companies that are still going to need an Agile or Scrum framework and project manager associated with that. But even like I have a number of contacts at Quick Trip. They are quickly moving over to a cursor workflow, and they're over the last year they've made huge progress in it, and the developers are starting to come around like this is actually really useful. So I think once they gain more capability, which might, I think large enterprises normally maybe 2 years behind where Frontier capable is. So you gain a little bit of timeline on there, but you're going to get a lot of competition with new startups and such that are able to do a lot of this stuff much more quickly. So, so yeah, like from a university perspective, I still think Scrum and Agile would be valuable to know and learn, and maybe the Scrum certification and such. But I think it would be important to phrase it that this is likely going to go away, but it is our paradigm right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like 2 years ago, it was all about Scrum. Last year, we touched on it, so I'll just bring it up again. But
And
we're really
and
going to focus on AI since we have the Microsoft Lab.
yeah, and the students can go ahead and use AI to create a Scrum model and an Agile model and kind of see how these projects differ, right? You can give them a project plan, like here's how these two models treat each of these projects differently, and they can kind of role play with that. You could build a sample editor like this too that would go ahead and simulate a project flow. How would each of these flow work, and then show like with a waterfall model where, well, if they're changed later, how does that affect the waterfall versus an agile? And so there's a lot of different I think ways you could help show the students the the different use cases. So if that makes sense?
Yes, so thanks. Yeah, I have 2 software startups that like want the students to use their software for the class. So it's an interesting time. So thanks a lot.
Yep.
It's really helpful.
Yeah, Sheila, that was really good questions. Thanks for
Good. I'm
bringing
glad.
that. I think people, hopefully people as they watch this video and in the recap, they hang on towards the end here, because I think the last 30 minutes of our conversation, we've covered some pretty big things people want to hear.
All right, thanks.
All right. Any other questions for anyone?
Well, you all have a wonderful rest of your week, and enjoy the weekend.
Everyone has a link if they want to sit and watch the game finish up. I'll leave it running. So